I felt that the substance conveyed the same overall message that the Barbie movie wanted to, and I think did it in a more profound way.
More visceral, maybe.
But that's the point, right? That they were able to do that in this genre of like extreme body horror and not lose it.
Right.
That's impressive. That's like really impressive.
Absolutely.
Hello and welcome to The Talkies, where three filmmakers, that's us, talk about movies. I'm Kenny.
I am D.
I'm Taylor.
Today we're talking about The Substance, specifically how this movie was so freaking good that it melted our brains, and yet at the same time, all of us are hesitant to call it a 10 out of 10 perfect movie. If you like what we do here on The Talkies, we invite you to check out our
That was hilarious.
I'm just thinking, I still want them to do it, even if they don't like what we do.
Oh, really?
If you dig what we do here on The Talkies, we'd love to invite you to follow us on Patreon, where we have exclusive content every other week. Coming up next, we are covering The Sixth Sense from M. Night
Shyamalan.
I won't say his last name.
You mean Salika's father?
That's the guy.
Salika
dad.
Shyamalan's father.
Right.
He's actually a filmmaker.
He
You
is?
didn't know.
Yeah, the famous musician's dad
Right.
is a filmmaker who made a movie called The Sixth Sense.
Wow.
And we're going to talk about it on Patreon.
That's
Go check
crazy.
it out.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself?
It was cool for this movie to end and feel the way I felt. I wanted to walk out of the theater and go make a movie after seeing this movie.
I thought you just said make out. I wanted to walk out of the theater and make out.
I did that too. But it just made me inspired.
Pretty girls should always smile.
I love the scene when Dennis Quaid is eating shrimp.
It got
was
really
disgusting.
Yeah, it was very intense.
I have a thing about that, sort of.
Do I hear a wet blanket coming?
Here we go. You guys ready for this? Wet blanket.
About to bring the whole vibe down.
Go on. We felt so
Okay.
good.
I was really excited at first.
Actually, brother,
Was enjoying my
this
gut fest.
this whole thing sucked. This movie sucked. Actually, no.
What's your thing?
My thing?
What's your thing?
Duh, don't ask me that.
Show me your thing.
That is personal. The scene with the shrimp I really liked, but there's this thing about the direction in here that I felt like you and I talked about. What was that game? Inside. Do you remember Inside? It's way above all the other games. It's like there's all the other games are here. It's here.
Yeah.
I want it to be
Even
here.
higher.
Yeah. And I said that it was like a 9 out of 10 game, but I still have a lot of criticisms about it. The same thing with this movie. It was almost 10 out of 10. Like, this is an amazing movie, but I still have a lot of criticisms. And I think it's because I can tell things that don't take it up to a 10 for me. And those things included things like the direction being too inconsistent with
I
their
get
own
that.
style.
I would not disagree.
The reason why the shrimp one came up for me was because the shrimp was a very in-your-face, climactic, ugly scene, right? It was one of those things that like they put it in the trailer, like
It's a big scene in the movie.
yeah. It's something that it's shoving the aesthetic right in your face, which I love. But to me, that was like almost grosser than like the reveals later on, and I'm like, that shouldn't happen. And like, why are you shoving so much
Right.
importance on this conversation unless it means something? And it doesn't.
No, I agree. I think all it means is, not maybe means isn't the right word, but it informs what kind of character Dennis
sure.
Quaid plays in this movie. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the purpose of
that came across, but D is right in that the scene went to level 10
Yeah, totally.
and probably merited being at like level 4.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's the scene that sticks out almost the most in my head, probably
Right.
because of how over the top
How
it is.
crazy it is, right?
It doesn't. I don't mean to say that it's my favorite scene, but what sticks with me is just how intense it is. But it's
yeah.
also, I think it's probably the most gross scene
Right.
of the whole movie, and I think that's because it's real.
So
Like
yeah.
it's not like makeup and effects. It's like actually Dennis Quaid
It's just-
extreme
yeah.
close-ups
Yeah.
being nasty with his mouth.
right.
I'm Sue.
You're hired.
This film did an excellent job of making you feel immersed in the theme. The idea of this extremely toxic demands of beauty standards in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways you can talk about that issue and topic, and it's been addressed in a lot of movies. But what this one tried to do, I felt, was make you as the audience member feel like you experience that yourself, right?
Interesting. So you're
like, and that scene, what it did really well, was make you feel like you got this nasty human being who has too much power and cares about the wrong things.
Totally.
Literally like breathing in your face and spitting bits of food at you while he talks, and making you feel as an audience member like you are kind of less than dirt.
Yeah.
You know?
Like to have the Barbie side, like all those stuff are so absurd, and they are so, I think, representative of, you know, some pattern that is kind of impossible to escape. And I felt that from a very young age. So the violence that I put on the body is like really reflects the violence that I feel regarding those issues.
And the movie did that well over and over again. Was it like oddly kind of paced thematically to have that much, you know, intensity in that scene? Yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But it did effectively do that thing.
Absolutely.
I mean.
And that's exactly why I think it doesn't go below a 9 for me if I were to numerically rate it. Not like pizza.
I can't believe we're talking about 1 out of 10 scale right now on the talkies.
I'm so sorry. Well,
Feels bad.
Yeah. Let me. It's much better pizza than I'm making it out to be. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. You're welcome.
There's been a slight misuse of the substance.
I think my favorite thing about this movie that maybe surprised me going into it, I was expecting a not necessarily a B movie, but like a body horror genre, schlocky,
A genre film.
a genre fun.
Totally.
And it is all of that really well, but it also does not sacrifice substance and theme. Like you're talking about beauty standards
Completely.
and age in general, not just beauty standards, but age for anybody. I think that's something anyone can relate to.
Sure.
And then also specifically beauty standards in Hollywood.
The movie
and
that
aging as a woman, you know.
Yeah.
Probably the most unexpected thing to me about this was the way the movie examines aging.
I would say that I think it's the most human thing that everyone has to deal with. I think it's the core of what makes us human. I think it's our fear to end.
The other movie that came to mind for me was the Barbie movie.
Right.
And,
a kind of similar vibe.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's so funny.
And I really like the Barbie movie. I'm a big fan of the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
I felt that the substance conveyed the same overall message that the Barbie movie wanted to convey.
Yeah, just in a different way.
And I think did it in a more profound way.
More visceral, maybe.
Definitely visceral, yeah.
But that's the point, right? That they were able to do that in a visceral way.
Yeah.
That they were able to do that in this genre of like extreme body horror and not lose it.
Right.
Right? That's impressive. That's like really impressive.
Absolutely.
You can sell tickets to a movie just on the body horror alone.
Sure.
You know? This movie felt so much deeper than the Cronenberg film we saw last year.
Yeah.
Which, you know, same kind of like
Crimes of the
hype
Future.
about the body horror shit.
Right.
And that movie felt like the body horror was like the main event.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
The rest was just kind of like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, the theme was not really there.
Right.
Just kind of like interesting. Like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, so it's neat that we had such a strong theme.
Right.
I think it's because the body horror is, it's like you're starting with the theme in the script and then from there building the body horror. you
Yeah.
know? It's like they started, I feel like they started with the idea that a woman wants to modify her body to be young again.
Right.
And then build from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like the very notion of augmenting yourself for the sake of beauty.
Right.
whether that be through makeup or surgery, is a body horror story in itself.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone lives a body horror story as you watch yourself slowly decay and try to find ways to hold back the hands of time. So it's like a super universal concept.
Yeah.
What this film did was just completely magnify that.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself?
Yeah.
It felt like it could have been an episode of Black Mirror.
Right. That's actually
It
what I
was
thought
very
about.
Black Mirror,
Yeah.
actually.
I was thinking about one of the things that made me think, why is this not a 10 out of 10? I was thinking this is a much better Black Mirror episode than it is a movie. But anyway, I do want to talk about that, though, if you guys want to talk about that.
Why it's not a 10?
Why it's not a 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it a little too long, do you think?
Too long? Mm-hmm. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But is that what you thought?
There were like 3 times within the movie
Yeah.
that I felt it was too long, but by the time it ended, I was totally satisfied, if that makes sense.
I felt kind of the same way, where I was thinking, oh, this is going to end soon, but I wasn't thinking of it like Lord of the Rings going to end soon. Like I was thinking of it as I can see it ending here, and oh shit, they're going harder. Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
I don't know. I thought the pacing was pretty good. I could see it being maybe a little long, but I didn't necessarily feel like it was too long.
It feels lean. The script is definitely lean.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's going to feel lean. The reason why it's not perfect for me, I thought about this so much, and I think it has to do with complexity. I think in movies that are 10 out of 10s, if I had to name a few, Dune Part 2 is one of them. Enemy is close to one. Blade Runner 2049 is pretty close. Hereditary. Those are all movies that have what I identified as bigger worlds surrounding the small story that takes place in it. And
Yep.
yeah, and to me, Substance felt like a vignette. It felt like a vignette.
Yeah.
That didn't have any expansion. And to me, it felt great because I believe it's a small budget movie.
Yeah, I think relatively.
Yeah, but it didn't feel like the person had any more to say about the world as opposed to just this one thing. Which was
so
fine,
there were
but
like
yeah.
the scenes that were the closest to taking me out of the movie.
Yeah.
We discussed right after finishing the film. Elizabeth Sparkles
Yes. Sparkle.
left her house to go back to the place where she picks up her refills of her packages,
Yeah.
And she's walking down the street, and all of a sudden it feels like not even a college student film.
I agree.
Like
Yeah.
a kid's film.
Right.
Where you're like, oh, I don't want to reveal on the camera that we don't have permits to shoot on this street. So
Yeah.
I'm going to like close up, real tight shots,
Right.
shaky, out of focus.
It was like the end of a Florida Project where they shot in Disneyland.
And then
Right.
and then like we keep using this little nook of this alley that it looks like they picked it because just no one will see us here.
Right.
Yeah, those scenes stuck out to me too for the
Yeah.
same reason.
So that like
Yeah.
it felt like a smaller world than the
Right.
rest of the movie, where we're in this like elegant, amazing high-rise apartment building.
Yeah.
We're inside of actual like a theater, a soundstage. A lot of this stuff looked very, very real.
Right.
And that looked like guerrilla level indie.
Any of the city level stuff, when they showed what's her name, the big prominent picture was just so awesome. The
billboard outside her window.
the billboard thing.
That was wild.
Yeah, I loved that. Right.
It also made no fucking sense.
No, not
It's
at all.
Good though.
It's like pointed at her
No,
apartment.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I love that stuff. So yeah, completely camera cheating. I love that shit. But the fact that was changing, I never once believed that this was like a thing that the city was really involved in. Like there's a big billboard that's like, Sue is all the rage now. I never once saw anyone care except for the producer. Yeah, that took me out a little bit too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. They're just telling us that Sue's become this massive sensation.
Right. There's the ratings
We really
through the
didn't
roof.
see
and,
anything to justify it.
But it's
Right.
like, how big can a fitness show really get?
Right. And
Oh, that was another thing
but it
I
was
had.
a sexy fitness show.
They're very sexy. Yeah.
Like,
strange sexy.
Like, who was that guy who did those?
Richard
Simmons? Is that who it was?
He was really sexy.
Very
He was
sexy.
very sexy.
He was very
yeah.
provocative.
Very provocative.
Yeah, very provocative. Okay, ladies! I do want to give some attention to that opening scene because I thought that was such a freaking great way
Oh yeah.
to just visually storytell this person we're about to talk about what had a peak
Yeah.
and was this famous, has aged and is largely forgotten now.
Right.
Right.
That
without saying any words.
without anything. Yeah.
That was really, really cool.
Yeah, I love.
I took exception
so much.
with the Los Angeles snow blizzard. I thought that was a little weird that it snowed in LA, but
I think the thing that is keeping this movie from being a perfect movie for me is that I can see room for growth, like improvement.
Totally.
Like I think there's room to do better.
Right. So when you see something like Dune 2,
Yeah,
you're
it's hard to imagine it being any better.
I can't even imagine a thing I could add to this.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Thank you. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally, respect.
Just a little bit. It's gone
I'll
now.
take-
It's gone now.
Congrats, though.
Thank you.
It's rare to get that thing
Yeah.
from D.
Yeah, it is.
One single injection unlocks your DNA and will release another version of yourself.
Demi Moore, Elizabeth, wakes up after her 3-month hibernation. When Elizabeth comes to, she's fucking Gollum.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And the prosthetics and makeup are, wow.
It's good.
Like,
Really
so
good.
good.
Yeah.
Really good.
And I just love that they went there with
Yeah.
the titties hitting her knees while
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
walked. and,
awesome.
Yeah.
Like, so good.
Yeah.
But she came out of that little closet barely able to move because of pain
I was
and
thinking the
True,
same
yeah.
joints and all this shit. Later, she's like moving furniture,
Right.
has a fucking fist fight.
Yeah.
Practically crawling up the walls.
Yeah. Practically at that time.
Like
yeah.
when she
Yeah.
couldn't even bend her leg in,
Right.
in
Yeah.
a previous scene.
That's
Yeah.
a bit of an ask.
So I kept using the term comic booky, and I hate that the term doesn't mean what it used to mean, but I feel like comic booky means things that are so simplistic, right? Things that are lack complexity, basically, you're just making things because you want to make them. But I felt like that was comic booky, right?
Yeah.
I felt like they needed her to move to a different room, thus she's gonna do it.
Just taking liberty.
Yeah.
The liberty of just saying, yeah.
Yeah, just fucking
We need it, yeah.
Right.
Right.
She's a
But
monster,
it's
whatever.
inconsistent. You know, it's like
is
at one
inconsistent.
moment,
It is, yeah.
one moment she's so brittle that she can barely move, and then
Right.
she's like, "Well, I'm going to walk down to the substance factory to go get my next delivery." And
I didn't care though. It did
no, it took
stand
me
out.
out a little. It took me out a little.
It did tick me out a little bit.
And so did Sue when she's resurrected after being killed by a blood transfusion to the heart or something. Like they have that whole thing of them both becoming conscious at the same time.
at the same time, yeah.
Was a little wibbly wobbly, and that's fine. I don't understand how the substance worked, but that certainly seemed to go against the laws of what
Of
they
the
had
movie,
said,
yeah,
of the
a little
rules,
bit.
yeah.
right? You know.
Well, to
Liberty
me,
with their own rules.
that was haunting. Like,
Oh no! It was once that happened, it was
Yeah.
fucking creepy.
when they both
I
did it.
loved that moment.
Yeah, that felt like a cosmic horror
Yes,
vibe to me.
that
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
most cosmic horror of the whole movie.
Yeah, yeah.
It's when they had to face each other in the same scene. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I just mean the
Yeah.
fact of how it worked,
Yeah, the
how it
science
was
behind
brought
it.
about was
logistically,
like,
yeah.
wait a minute.
With the rules of the world.
Especially
that were
after she
established.
literally
Right.
did the extermination injection, you
Right.
know? But not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is once their fight started, you had moments where Sue had Marvel superpowers. Remember she kicks her across the room?
Across the room.
True, yeah.
She like kicks her and she flies like 30 feet. And,
Yeah.
you know, it all looked cool.
Right.
And at this point, you're just like, I am in for the ride. This
Yeah.
is fucking intense and wild. And, you know, I'm here for it.
Sure.
But it was not consistent. It's like, wait a minute. Okay, so it gives you super strength.
Right, right.
Well, no, not really. It doesn't. But, you know,
This balance is not working.
from her getting to the stage onward, really crossed a bridge into a different movie altogether.
It did become a different movie after that, yeah.
And you had to kind of put on your surreal hat
Right.
and just be like, well, what's real anyway? When they reveal that she's turned into this monster, credits could just roll right now, and I would walk away satisfied with the movie I saw.
Right.
But it kept going, and it kept going into like weirder and weirder space. But then it crossed this level of intensity. And I remember the thought that hit me was, holy shit, she, and by she I mean the director, she's been holding back. This whole movie, I would never have guessed she was holding something back.
Yeah.
And she was holding something back, because that ending was way more overwhelmingly intense than it had any right to be.
Sure, yeah.
You know?
No, it went full on mother in that
Yeah, I was
last
like,
part,
my
yeah.
heart was racing. Like, I was just like, oh, like just riding that adrenaline all the way till her body explodes.
Yeah. Being that we just watched and talked about Trap, I couldn't help but think about the stakes that were involved in that movie and how that movie tried so hard. I feel like maybe tried hard. Maybe not. Maybe they didn't.
Trap.
Yeah. Maybe it didn't try hard. I
M.
don't
Night
know.
Shyamalan's Trap?
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan's
2024.
Trap. That's the same.
Got it.
They were obviously trying to push these heavy stakes that there's a serial killer inside this area with a ton of people, and none of us ever felt stakes watching that movie. And there was a scene in here in The Substance that made me feel more tense than I did in Trap entirely.
Yeah.
And it was the last transformation, and it goes from her POV or from its POV. And we know we're going to be able to see her, but we're not sure what she's going to look like. And I was like on the edge of my seat the whole time. It was cool.
I really loved the plot device. You have 7 days in the new body, 7 days in the old body. And if you go over time, your old body deteriorates.
Right. Well,
I think that's such a great plot device.
That was, it was brilliant. That was what made the movie fresh and unique. I can probably name half a dozen movies where there's some kind of transformative material that you take that wears off.
Right.
Right? Whether it makes you young or fit or to look like another person.
But this one goes on.
But it's the Cinderella thing, like midnight, you turn back, you know? We've seen that so many times. And this took that and gave it a really creative new spin.
Yeah. What's nice about that is that it's character based, right? Like the thing doesn't go on by itself. The effect doesn't end and then the character has to reinitiate. It's all controlled by the character.
Right.
I like all the scenes when she calls the company.
Right.
Yeah. She's like, come on, this is messed up. And it's like, no, it's all your fault.
It's all your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The choice going into this in the first place comes from a place of selfishness, of wanting to steal time away from where you don't have any. Right. So you already are operating from that state of very selfish motivation, and then we're surprised when the person you make out of your own body operates from a selfish motivation.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's like, no, she's literally behaving the way you were when you started this in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the younger version, Sue, kind of operates like a young, selfish star.
Right.
Where she prioritizes her stuff.
She literally behaves the way that Elizabeth would have in the same position.
Totally.
And has a hard time grasping the consequences of staying for extra time.
Yeah. Right.
And so when she switches back to her old body, she's like, that bitch. Like she gets mad at herself.
Right.
Yeah. And it raises that cool concept, a funny mind space to go to of like, you think you could trust a younger version of yourself, but you can't. There's no way you could.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
You're so much different from your younger self that if you were in the same room together, you would think you were an idiot.
Right.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what she says. Almost exactly. Yeah. Well, really cool dynamic.
Yeah.
Really, really cool script writing.
Absolutely.
And every time she takes too much, she hurts the other one, which hurts herself.
Right. It's very human.
And that's what makes it so much better than a schlocky body horror movie.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That does set it apart.
It is actually about someone.
Right.
And
the human condition.
Exactly. What they're going through. Yeah. A lot of this reminded me of Climax. Is it Gaspar Noé?
Gaspar Noé.
Yeah. Gaspar Noé.
Yeah. The same thing also with Climax. I didn't feel like it was perfect because it was a singular story that couldn't have been anything else, but also could have been better. But I loved it for what it was.
I just re-listened to our episode on The Lighthouse.
Oh, yeah.
And we actually, in that episode, we made a distinction between story and experience in
interesting.
in filmmaking.
Yeah.
Making the story pieces all fit together for me became a very secondary motivation in this film. Kind of enjoying the sensation of losing my mind and that you know the best movies have a great story and a great experience, but you can have movies that are light on story but have great experience and vice versa. You know? This was pretty close to both.
I was gonna say this had
so.
both, quite a lot. I think that's the reason why all three of us can agree on this movie.
Right. Whereas with the Lighthouse didn't quite do that, you know, because it was surreal.
Right.
That there was a lot we were like, why would you even do that in a movie?
Well, the movie that comes to mind is You Were Never Really Here. Is that what it was?
Wow, yeah.
The Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah. Like, I love the feeling of that movie, but thinking about the story, I couldn't really tell you much about it. Substance feels like there's such a heavy theme in here that it's like I can't talk about the feeling without talking about the story, you know?
Yeah, it's theme first almost.
Right.
It's like instead of saying, hey, let's make a body horror movie, it's like I have this idea for a movie about aging and then beauty standards.
And tell it through body horror.
And we'll tell it through body horror, which is what Hereditary does.
Right,
also.
right, with the family drama,
Family drama told through horror.
Totally.
It turned out that everybody connects with this really deeply, this kind of idea of being scared about dying.
Another thing we talked about shortly after the film was that I said this resonated with me because I genuinely have a phobia around aging. My white hairs freak me out, and when I see wrinkles and all that kind of like.
That's sad.
Well, it is sad because I can't do anything about it.
You can stop. There's this stuff called The Substance.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
a better me.
A better you.
Awesome. Anyway.
There's hair dye.
There is hair dye, right. And Botox.
And Botox.
You're
I mean,
right.
there's actually a lot
I can make my own body horror.
Yeah.
Hooray. So it resonated with me because I have...
Because you're ancient.
Because
you're so old.
When you boys are older, you'll understand.
Right.
Okay, you're just little babies.
Yeah.
You don't understand yet.
I'm a babby.
But I didn't feel any of that in Old by M. Night Shyamalan, which is on the nose specifically about the fear of aging, and it did nothing to me. Like it did not tap into my own phobia around aging at all.
It's a common Shyamalan L.
Common L.
Because it's not a good movie, you know?
That's so funny.
Yeah. Speaking of M. Night Shyamalan, our upcoming Patreon content, we are going to be covering The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
True.
Join us over on Patreon for an exclusive episode about The Sixth Sense as well as other stuff.
It's about 130 pages, I think, the script, and it has 29 pages of dialogue. So it's a very visual piece.
Oh, cinematography. Hey, let's talk about cinematography real quick.
All right.
Cinematography in here was crazy, and I loved it. And it made me actually inspired. You were talking about how you got inspired from this.
Yes.
I did too with the stylistic choices in here. There was one moment where she came through the hallway, and there was a lot of shots like this, but there was a big old wide shot, right? Wide lens, not wide shot, wide lens, with the camera really close to her, and it came from behind her shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And then as she looked at she was looking at her poster, and she looked at the other poster, the camera whipped behind her neck to do crossing the 180, if I remember correctly. But it felt so good, and it was one of those moments like the 4mm lens that they used in what was that movie? Yeah, Poor Things, where it's just so heavy in stylistic choice that it made me want to do stuff like that, where when I shoot something, instead of always thinking about the function behind the shot, right? Like this shot establishes that, this shot makes this important. Maybe just have, some silly fun with it and make it more stylistic and more what just feels right.
Who are you?
I know.
Are you Devon Keys?
Yeah, I know.
That doesn't sound...
I'm D, actually.
That sounds a little...
I don't know who Devon Keys
You're sounding a little Taylor to me.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Has this guy been rubbing on you?
Yeah, he's been rubbing on me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
You know what other shot was amazing? I thought was amazing. The shot when Sue is born, and it's the long POV shot of herself checking herself out in the mirror.
Yeah.
That shot was awesome. I thought that was a really cool shot.
Oh, that actually took me out.
I was gonna say, I bet you hate that shot.
No. I love that shot because it was doing shallow depth of field in the way that I think is really creative, where they rack focused from, I think it was from background to her, or something like that. It's something really cool. But the mirror where she when she was rubbing the mirror, it's digital condensation, and it looks really fake to me.
Like I didn't
notice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, to me, it looked like shit. It's probably because I'm just a better movie watcher than you guys are.
The superior movie watcher.
It's the IQ.
Oh, it's the IQ, right? Yeah. I also have a bigger IQ. Yeah.
To be fair, you have to have a high IQ to spot digital condensation.
Correct.
Yeah. She births a boob from her eye.
She does. Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah, she does.
Yes, she does. Yeah.
That's correct.
That's
correct. Yes. And I didn't feel it was that shocking. It felt really like I was like, oh shit, some weird, like, because to this point, we've seen a lot of titties in this movie, okay? And we've seen some really crazy body horror shit.
So it's taking a step back now.
And this mutant monster, which is supposed to be like the craziest thing in the movie, and is in many ways, and something starts coming out of her head, and it's a boob, and it falls to the ground, and I was like, what's going on here?
I love that. I love that. I think that was a direct nod to the theme, like 100%.
That's what I was wondering, and I wasn't sure if I liked that or if it bothered me.
Hyperbole.
Yeah.
Hyperbole. Thank you for repeating what I said.
I thought so.
Define hyperbole.
Oh, okay. So hyperbole is a over exaggeration of a point.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's another boob.
It's another boob.
Just another boob.
It's a disembodied boob.
It's a boob with an umbilical cord.
Right. Well, it takes
individual boob.
It takes the context away from the shape of a titty.
Yeah.
And then so when it's coming out, it's not ever hot.
Right.
It's not ever
sexy,
interesting or sexy. Right. It's really disgusting.
If you had to compare this movie to a pizza,
that's absurd.
In the form of hyperbole.
Does it have to be hyperbole?
Does it have to be hyperbole?
Could be metaphor.
Okay.
Can it be subtle?
Can it be simile?
Could be a subtle simile.
Okay.
Well, let me ask this.
Huh?
You said if I have to.
Yeah, if you had to.
So let me ask this. Do I have to?
Let me look. Yeah.
Fuck. I know I should never. I should have never signed that.
It's actually part of the agreement.
I should have never signed that.
With Time Warner. All right. If this movie were a pizza, what kind of pizza would it be, D?
Me?
Yeah, you're first. You're always first.
God
you
damn
have
it.
the best
I don't
ones.
have anything.
Okay, Taylor.
Oh shit! I haven't been thinking about this.
Do
at
I have
all.
to start?
Yes.
Okay. No. I have it.
Oh, thank God.
I have it. This pizza is one that you get delivered to you, but you didn't order it. So you're just at your house. Someone knocks on your door and says, "Here's your pizza," and you're like, "I didn't order pizza," but they just run. Like they give it to your pizza and they run, and you're like, "Okay, well, that's really weird. I'm going to take it and open it." And I'm really hungry now. I'm really hungry, and I haven't had food in a long time, and I'm realizing this just now. So it was like actually kind of perfect. So I open the box, and I'm just like, okay, cool. It looks like a regular pepperoni pizza. Something it actually looks pretty good.
Okay,
a pretty good pepperoni pizza. And so you take a slice, and as you stretch it, you would think that cheese pool would come, but there's no cheese pool. It just comes out like as if it's like made of plastic almost. And you go to eat it, and you have to take a bite, and you have this mouthfeel of just 100% blended up scorpion peppers. It's just scorpion peppers.
So you hate this movie?
No. Scorpion peppers with cheese and cupped pepperonis, and it's like
good?
It's like a really delicious part of the pizza, but then just insanely spicy. But you keep going for more.
But it's good.
But it's good.
Oh yeah. You keep going for more, and you keep eating it.
So you
keep
like
eating it.
spicy?
You like you end up liking spicy.
I see.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, you actually didn't like
to.
spicy when you first ate it, but now you do.
Now you do.
It makes a convert of you.
Yeah.
I see.
And then you spend the rest of your time in the bathroom just shitting your brains out. Yeah. You and I think alike. So there you go. Yeah, that's this movie. Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it to many people, but I would enjoy that. I'm not cutting that out. That's not embarrassing.
I feel
Wow,
you. I totally get
respect
you.
that. I respect
get
that.
you.
I respect
All right.
that.
You want to go? You want me to go?
I'll go real quick.
All right, go.
Only if it's real quick.
Just real quick. So you're going to get a pizza. You're hungry. You're not sure where to go, and you find this local place, down the street. It's kind of in a weird area, not the best area, and you go there and you can't quite find it. It's in the parking lot, but you're in the parking lot where Google took you, and you're like, I don't really see it. And it turns out it's actually like behind in this weird nook around behind the parking complex. That's kind of weird. The place is called Luigi's. And you're like, that's weird. There's like a million Luigi's like across the United States that are all different, but whatever.
It's true though.
It sounds like a dream. I love this.
Yeah, you go in. It's not the nicest place. It's like made of brick, like brick walls, brick everywhere. It's kind of dark lighting inside, not a lot of light. You sit down, you order a pizza, you order off the menu, the pepperoni pizza. That's all it is.
That's crazy.
You're just like, I'll just have the pepperoni pizza.
All right.
And you're not expecting a lot because it's so dingy. Then the pizza comes out and it looks delicious. It's kind of got a large thick crust that looks really good. Delicious fresh pepperoni, not cup pepperoni, but just pepperoni.
Okay.
And you start eating it and you're like, wow, this is really surprisingly good pizza. Not only does it feel kind of like not only does it taste like the kind of pizza you'd eat at like a party where you're playing video games all night, but it also, you can taste that the ingredients are high quality.
Okay. This just sounds good.
Yes, it's delicious. So it kind of satisfies a primal urge to eat pizza while also
the primal urge of eating pizza
while also satisfying the intellectual needs.
Our caveman ancestors had the urge to eat pizza.
Exactly. And it also satisfies the intellectual needs of fine cuisine.
Wow.
From an unexpected place.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like an 8.5 out of 10.
Totally. Yeah, like solid B-.
It's not the best pizza you've had in your life. It's a good one that you'll remember.
That sounded awesome. Like the best pizza in my life.
I've had better.
Okay, all right. Okay, fine, all right.
Maybe it was the best pizza you had.
Yeah, I don't walk in the circles you do. All right.
How embarrassing.
Okay, for me, I'll tell you what this pizza is. You get this pizza, someone just says, hey, you got to try pizza from whatever place down the road. It's epic. You got to try it, right? So you do it for the first time. And
it's around a corner and it's in a dingy little spot. It's called Luigi's.
It might be. That's superfluous to my point.
Gotcha. Perfectly superfluous.
The pizza gets delivered to your house and you eat your first slice and you're just like, oh my God, I fucking love this pizza. And you eat the whole pizza. Like, it's really, really good.
Very nice.
The next morning when you wake up, half of your hand has shriveled into an old
wait a second
crone. Like, it's all gnarled and knobbly and old and scabby.
It sounds terrible.
And you're like, oh my God. And you call the pizza place and I'm like, is this because of you? And they're like, yeah, that does happen. And you know what? If you don't like it, you don't have to eat our pizza. And you're like, well, I won't. My God, this is terrible. And but by like 8 o'clock that night, you're just like, damn, I'm hungry. That pizza was so good. And you're like, well, one more, and you can't stop eating it because it is really, really good.
Is your name Sue?
My mother is Sue.
Okay.
I'm Sue Jr.
You're Sue Jr. Okay, that makes sense.
And you eat this pizza.
His mom is Sue. Until
you shrivel to something that looks like a grasshopper with cancer.
Oh, fuck.
But the pizza was really good.
Was it worth it?
That doesn't sound like it's worth it.
No, the pizza's good. Was it worth it? It's not my call. It's not my call. Not my call at all, man. I'm just telling you how the pizza is, and the pizza's delicious. Okay?
Right. The experience surrounding the pizza.
Oh, that's up to you, man.
That's up to you to interpret, right? Okay.
It's not my place.
It's not his cross to bear.
Gotcha.
I won't bear that cross.
Yeah, please don't bear it.
He's not being crucified.
I won't be crucified over this, okay? I'm just telling you the facts. Yeah. I just tell you the facts.
Right.
That's the facts.
Wow.
Yeah.
End us,
please.
Okay, thanks for watching the Talkies from Karman Studios. For more exclusive content, if you like this thing we do, you can see more of it over at Patreon. And until next time... what is it that Elizabeth Sparkles says? She says something.
Yeah.
She She says something cute, and she's like, yeah, and this, and
Yeah, fade to black.
yeah.